These are all uncorrelated habits, thoughts that can improve your life. Number one, make your to-do list the night before. So when your mind goes to work on it, you wake up with a plan. 2, message 3 friends every morning. Take a walk every day. Give yourself the gift of some time alone or time with your significant other. Sky before screen and try to eliminate that caffeine early in the morning. Number 5, make sure you're getting enough protein and do resistance training. 6, major hydration. Try to stop in the evening. Number 7, go alkaline. Number 8, touch your dreams. You know how powerful it is to be reading books? Someone that is very successful in a particular topic has taken their life and put it into a book, and you can read it in a week, what they've learned in their life. And the more you pour that into yourself, the more you grow and change you, the more the internal you grows and changes, the external results change. Always be reading. In my life, would have been a much happier man the last 53 years that I learned in a polite, kind, firm way to say no. If people are asking you to do things you don't want to do or shouldn't do, say no. If you don't want to go somewhere or do something, say no. If you're in a conversation that doesn't serve you or someone's gossiping, say no. Practice mental rehearsal. Start visualizing more often. And the more someone does that, the more they become familiar with something, the more their mind moves towards it. Spend more time in prayer, more time in contemplation of where you come from and where you're going. Find your own answers to that stuff. Your life will be better. I can promise you that. Welcome back to the show, everybody. It's so great that we're going to spend some time together today. And as I do on every solo episode, I try to make it something that can really improve or change your life. And I've been getting a lot of questions. Team's been telling me about habits. And do I have any unique daily habits that I wanted to share with you? And so I'm going to do that today. Today, I'm going to give you 20 very unique habits that I do on a daily basis. And some of them I just really started doing that have kind of moved the needle or made a difference in my life. Some of them are very simple, and some of them are changes from other things I've taught before. You know, as you learn new information, you change, hopefully, in life. One of the things I admire about great leaders is when they say, well, I've got more information or new information, I've changed my mind. And so there's a couple things today I'm going to share with you that I've never really shared before that are a little bit different as well. And some of them are pretty basic things. But the reason I think habits matter so much is that our brain is trying to all the time create habits so that it can conserve energy. It doesn't want to spend energy. So it's always building habits. And habits matter because if we can conserve energy or put ourselves into a routine rather, we end up having more predictable behavior, more predictable results. And habits are something that when we're under pressure, we respond with habits reflexively. So the better your habits, the better your routines, typically the better your life. And so I'm going to take you through some very basic things I do that you would think don't make a difference, but they do because they save me time about thinking. And I can take my focus and generate it to the things that matter. I don't want to deplete my energy or my focus to having to make decisions about stuff that I could have just predetermined with a habit or a routine. And so these are some very simple things. Some of them aren't so simple that I do on a daily basis. Maybe get 20 of them. Okay. Some of them you probably already do. And some of them you probably definitely don't do. Do you need to do all of them? No, but I'm sharing with you what I do that works for me, okay? So here we go. 20 habits that can improve or change your life. Number 1, I make a to-do list the night before for the next day. And no more than 6 things on it. I'm a big to-do list person. So in the evening, before I go to bed, when I'm winding down, I look at my day that's coming up the next day, and I make a to-do list. I love checking things off lists. I love being focused. I love not having to think. I don't want to forget things. And so the night before, I make a to-do list for the following day. I put no more than 6 things on it. Now, by the way, most of my days, I get a whole lot more than 6 things done, but these are 6 non-negotiable things. Sometimes it's 3, sometimes it's 5, sometimes it's 2. If I'm in a busy day, maybe it's 1, but no more than 6 things because there's just too many things and you can create overwhelm. So the night before, I write down the 6 things I'm going to get done the next day. Why do I do that? Well, I wake up with a plan. I wake up with autopilot. Also, I believe that when you write these things down the night before, your subconscious mind, your unconscious mind even, can go to work on the strategy, on putting it together, on the things, the thoughts, the places, etc., that you may need to make those things a reality the next day. And it just creates structure. If you want to know what the people that I coach have in common, or successful people that I have on the show or that are friends of mine, they have created structures around themselves that allow failure to have a very difficult time creeping in. And so the people that have a lot of money, they can create a lot of those structures with teams and staffs and employees and people around them and handlers and those kind of things. But for most people, they don't have the money to do it. And so they've got to create that within themselves. And so number one habit for me, not in any order, by the way, not in priority, just 20 of them. Number one, make a to-do list the night before with the things you're going to get done the next day. Number two habit I've established over the last few years that's really made a difference for me is I make a video every morning to 3 friends. And I call it the Let Me Tell You About You video. It takes me just a few minutes long. And I just make a quick selfie video to 3 friends every day. And it could just be, hey, Joe, I love you, brother. Just want to let you know I was thinking about you this morning. And these are the things I think about you. These are the things I'm focused on. This is what I'm praying for you. Just wanted you to know you're on my mind. And then usually tell them 2 or 3 things I love about them or that I'm focused on, or remind them of a previous conversation. Make 3 of those every single day. Just I put that out into the world. I start my day with contribution. I start my day with love. I start my day with gratitude for these people, thanking them for being in my life. Some of them are very good friends that I've known a long time. Sometimes it's someone I met the previous day, but I had a very powerful meeting with. Hey, I just want to tell you how much I enjoyed our meeting yesterday. I'm looking forward to building our friendship or building our business relationship. What I loved about our conversation was this. What I loved about you was X, Y, or Z. Sometimes it's my best friends, and I'll say, just a reminder, let me tell you about you. You're the kindest, most brilliant, most generous, most funny, most beautiful, most whatever, blah, 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 blah. And I make 3 of those every day. It usually takes me 10 minutes to make 3 1 or 2 minute long videos for my friends. It's something that I do daily to put out into the world. I know my friends look forward to it. Starts my day with a gift, with contribution, with the highest frequency, with love. And so I do that every day. I recommend you do some version of this every day. Just take you a minute. It'll change people's lives. And what you put out into the world comes back to you, right? You can't give to somebody that which you're not experiencing yourself, and you can't receive it. So when you put love and gratitude out and just touch people's lives, the likelihood of that coming back to you, the law of reciprocity in your day is much higher, and it just puts you in the right state. Number 3 thing I do randomly every day, I take a daily walk. I believe walking is one of the greatest things you can do for yourself. There was a social media clip cut out of a podcast I did that people were saying that I said walking isn't exercise, and that's not what we were talking about. We were talking about walking. We were talking about muscle building exercises, and obviously walking doesn't build a lot of muscle, but daily walks have changed my life. It's a gift for me. I take a daily walk. It gets my body moving, gets my thoughts happening, gets me outside, which I'm going to talk about next. I find it some of my best connections to God and other people are when I take a walk. And one of the great gifts you could give yourself is to take a daily walk. If for the rest of your life you took a daily walk every day of your life, you'd be a richer, happier, more fulfilled, more grateful, whole, peaceful person. And by the way, you'll generate a bunch of great business and life ideas on those walks as well. What a great daily habit. So far, to-do list the night before. Send a message to 3 friends. I do it on video. Take a daily walk.
So, hey guys, one of the things I love is when technology can revolutionize an old industry. And I think we'd all agree one of the industries that needs a lot of revolution in a lot of ways is the medical industry. And ZocDoc's doing that in this sense. I love it. One of the hardest things to do in the world is to find a doctor that you click with that takes your insurance, by the way, and that's local. ZocDoc is a free app and website where you can search and compare high-quality, in-network doctors, choose the right one for your needs, and click to instantly book an appointment, typically in 24 to 72 hours. We're talking about in-network appointments with more than 100,000 healthcare providers across every specialty, from mental health to dental health, eye care to skin care, and much more. Plus, ZocDoc appointments happen fast, typically within 24 to 72 hours of booking. You can even score same-day appointments. So stop putting off those doctor's appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/Mylett to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/Mylett. ZocDoc.com/Mylett.
Number 4, sky before screen. I learned this from Dr. Amy Shaw on my show. But what I mean by that is right when I wake up in the morning, one of the first things I try to get done very quickly is I try to get outside. And by the way, I live in cold weather places like Maine, so I know what it's like to be cold outside. I also live in Florida. I know what it's like to have a beautiful morning as well. But I try to get outside. I want to see the sky before I see a screen. And there's something to be said for just getting outside, breathing in the air. Even if you live in a city, hearing the hustle and bustle of other people that are moving around, that's effective. Looking at the sky and seeing the sun if you can, even if it's a foggy, cloudy day, just letting those rays hit you and just getting outdoors, connecting with God really quick. Sometimes it's 30 seconds. Usually it's no more than 5 or 10 minutes. But if it's really cold and it's in Maine and it's snowing, I may go outside for 30 seconds, but just to feel nature, to feel the breeze, to feel the cold, to feel the hot, to feel the humidity, just to feel before I start having a screen hit my face. And I also try in my morning routine to delay drinking any caffeine or coffee. I learned this from her as well. Adenosine in your brain is something that kind of makes you feel foggy, and it's something that you have when you're sleeping at night. Adenosine is it's a neuromodulator in the brain that helps regulate sleep, arousal, and other brain functions. It's a byproduct of cellular metabolism that builds up during the day, and then at nighttime it's recycled during your sleep. And so it helps you. It helps with arousal. It promotes sleep, and it suppresses arousal. And so when you're awake, adenosine levels increase each hour. It helps with neurotransmission as well. But it's an inhibitory neurotransmitter. So what happens is when you wake up, your brain's still flooded with all this stuff. That's why you have brain fog. And when you consume caffeine early, what caffeine does, particularly coffee, is it blocks these receptors, which means it doesn't leave your brain. And so that's why a lot of people are like, man, I need a second cup of coffee. I need a third cup of coffee. I need a fourth cup of coffee, because the fog is still there because you've been drinking coffee and caffeine. You have not allowed the adenosine to leave your brain, which typically takes 20 to 40 minutes after you wake. So if you can do something for the first 20 to 40 minutes, let that adenosine clear your brain, have the coffee that you want. But for me, it was sky before screen and then not trying to consume caffeine at least the first 30 minutes of my day. You'll feel like your brain fog will change. At least it has for me. Your clarity of focus improves. And then you can certainly have that morning cup of coffee if that's something that you partake in. Okay? That's fourth habit for me. Sky before screen and no caffeine the first 30 to 45 minutes. And no, I did not know that was going to rhyme when I first wrote it down to tell you. Number 5, I've just become a habit of taking in daily protein and doing resistance training. I think there's one thing to walk and to do cardio, but so many people who have been on my show and all the data that I've learned is that, there is a major reason in the world to build lean body mass, muscle mass. And the way that you do that is protein and resistance training. And so if you don't have a high enough protein intake in your life, you're probably not going to build enough muscle in your life, and that's going to hurt you. It's going to help you. If you build more muscle mass on your body, you're not going to gain as much fat. You're going to be stronger. You're going to build more skeletal muscle. Your bone density improves. All kinds of things improve. And the other way that you get that is resistance training, is lifting stuff. And so no matter what that looks like, if you use body weight resistance or kettlebells, or like I do, free weights in the gym, I've been very limited the last year because of a back issue of lifting almost any weights, but I've been using body weight resistance. I've been doing push-ups, which is still resistance training. And so anything you can do to have protein and resistance in your life is going to be a really big deal, and you need to do it. And so if you don't have that daily habit, add that to your daily habit. 6, major hydration early in the day. So one thing I've changed that just works for me, I'm just sharing with you what works for me, is I hydrate a great deal a day. I drink a gallon of water every day, but I try to get a liter done before I even leave the bedroom. Okay. And so hydration has been great for me because it's given me more energy. It also makes you feel more full and you're likely not to eat as much. But most people are dramatically dehydrated because of the caffeine that they take in, the medication they take, the supplements they take, and they do not drink enough water. And by the way, alkalized water or hydrogenated water is something I've really done a lot of as well. So I hydrate like crazy throughout the day. I have found a direct connection between my energy, my clarity of thought, my process, everything. And by the way, my lack of wanting to eat as much as well when I'm hydrating. And I think most people are underhydrated. If you do drink a lot of water, then you got to be checking on your electrolytes and things like that. Here's another thing I changed. Maybe this is because I'm a middle-aged guy. I stopped drinking water by 7 p.m. so that I am not up multiple times during the evening having to use the restroom and breaking my sleep. Because I truly believe over the next 5 years, the frontier of anti-aging, the frontier of wellness, of health, of cognition, of brain function, of strength, of energy is more and more going to be focused on sleep and be able to get into the right brainwave states when we sleep, to be able to get our HRV in an optimal state, to be in a parasympathetic state, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And if you're getting up 3-4 times a night because you're so hydrated, you're not getting deep sleep. I got to be honest with you. A lot of my friends that hydrate like crazy don't sleep well. And the reason they don't sleep well is they have to keep getting up to empty their bladder. I know this may sound very, I don't know, not podcasty, but that's been my new process. So I get all my hydration done by 7 p.m. at night. Number 7, go alkaline. I use a PEMF mat that I lay on that helps my body get in an alkaline state. I try to eat more alkalizing foods, beans, berries, leafy greens, dark chocolate. And because I do eat so much protein, I eat a lot of protein. I do eat red meat. In my case, I do eat chicken. By the way, I respect you if you don't do that. That's okay. But in my case, I do. So it's even more important that I'm working on alkalizing myself. And so PEMF beds help me with that. Eating a lot of greens and berries, as I said, have made a huge difference for me. These are just daily habits that have worked for me, that I have found that make a big impact for me. Number 8, totally random. Touch your dreams more. So many of you, I know these are uncorrelated habits. So many of you have dreams in your life and you don't go touch them. You've got to begin to touch your dreams. So the more your brain becomes familiar with something, the more it's going to move towards what you want, because it becomes familiar. It moves towards it. If you don't spend any time in your dreams, like let's say you have a dream home you want, or a dream car, or a dream job, or a dream body, or a dream relationship, a dream whatever, if you spend no time in it and don't touch it, the likelihood of you ever moving there in your life is very small. So I've said this many, many times. I'm constantly on my app looking at houses, and places I might want to live someday, and touching my dream by seeing it, sharing it with friends of mine who share it with them. And I've got buddies of mine that share with me like the car they want or the jet they want. My faith-based friends, hey, this is the mission we're going to serve this summer. Isn't this be incredible? We could go, but you're touching your dreams. It's taking I wanted to live in a particular neighborhood I couldn't afford in. I'd work 6, 7, 8 weeks really hard. And if I hit my goals and my numbers, I'd go spend one night. I've said this many times, but I always wanted to live in Laguna Beach, California, Dana Point area. And there's a Ritz-Carlton there. And when I was a very young man, I didn't have a lot of money, right? But I wanted to know what it was like to be there. I didn't live there. I lived in the Inland Empire. If you don't know what that means, I lived not there, right? Far away. I could drive there. I could see it, but I didn't live there. And so once I started in business, I would work really hard. And if I hit my goals, I'd set up a contest with myself. Hey, if I hit this many sales or I make this much money, and at that Ritz-Carlton, I'd go there for one night. Go there on a Saturday night, and we'd check into the hotel. And I remember the first time I walked in, I'd never had a valet take my keys. And I remember thinking, man, I probably should have vacuumed the car out, and I gave the valet my keys, and we walked in like, wow, marble floors, look at this. And I was blown away by this place. And then you checked in, Mr. Mylett. No one called me Mr. Mylett. Checked in, I got my room, we got to the room, and I'm like, hey, I'm going to go play golf. You go to the spa. And just for the day, we would live for one day the way we wanted to live the rest of our lives, right? And then we'd have a great bottle of wine and have dinner, and I'd sit there at dinner, babe, we're going to make this happen someday. Make this dream. We would dream. And then at 6 weeks, 8 weeks later, we would do it again if I hit my If I didn't hit my numbers, we wouldn't go. And we would work hard to get a deal on the room and, whatever we could do. But the point is, 2, 3, 4 times a year, I touched my dream. And the more I did that, the 5th time I walked in, I'm like, hey, it's Ed Mylett. How are you? Great to be back, Mr. Mylett. It started to become familiar. And the more I started to do those things, the more it's like, I belong here, because you believe you belong in your dreams when you touch them. Not enough of you are touching your dream. By the way, your dream may have nothing to do with material things. Your dream may be, I want to serve in this particular charity full time. If I had all the money or if I had time, I'd serve this mission in my church, whatever it might be. So once every 3 or 4 months, take a day and serve that mission. Take a day in that church. Take a day at that nonprofit and touch your dream. And the more you touch it, the more it becomes familiar, the more your mind goes to work on getting you there someday. But if you never touch your dream, you don't know. So touch your dreams, set up a schedule. These are habits. Let's review where we are so far, everybody. Let's start from the very beginning again, because I'm giving you 20 of them. So here we go, okay? I want to make sure that these are uncorrelated things you can do to change your life. Number 1, make your to-do list the night before. So that your mind goes to work on it, you wake up with a plan. You have to think about it, autopilot. 2, message 3 friends every morning. You have to do all these things, as I said. Do some of them. Take a walk every day. Give yourself the gift of some time alone or time with your significant other. Sky before screen and try to eliminate that caffeine early in the morning when you can, okay? Number 5, make sure you're getting enough protein and do resistance training. 6, major hydration. Try to stop in the evening. Number 7, go alkaline. And number 8, touch your dreams. These are all uncorrelated habits and thoughts that can improve your life. I exist here weekly so that you can make your dreams come true, become the man or woman you're capable of, and then pay it forward. So these are things I've done in my life or I am currently doing that have really moved the needle. Because the difference between winning and losing is so small, it's almost too scary to talk about. But I'm talking about it. These are the needle-moving things. These are the things myself and others that I coach that I know do very well habitually that seem to not be a big deal. But when you stack them all up, they're a huge deal. Think about this. What if every single day you really, truly had the night before had written out your to-do list and just, got your day ready for the next day, woke up with a plan, and you ended up really making sure that you've taken some darn time to do some hydration, and you got outside early day and you limited your caffeine and you became someone who took a walk on a regular basis. Just think about how much better your life would be and how much more structured it is. And you're eating enough protein and doing some resistance. You get it, right?
Hey guys, your metabolism is so critical because your metabolism is at the center of everything going on in your body. Optimal metabolic health is critical because it's involved in everything you do. It improves your energy levels. It has weight loss and management benefits, better fitness results, better sleep. So metabolism matters so much. That's why I love Lumen. It's a device that can help measure your metabolism through your breath. And on the app, it'll let you know, it'll detect whether you're burning for fat or carbs in that moment, gives you tailored guidance to improve your nutrition, your workouts, your sleep, and even stress management. It's really a brilliant idea, and now I don't know what I would do without it. So if you want to take the next step in helping to improve your wellness, go to lumen.me/Ed Mylett to get 15% off your Lumen. That is Lumen, LUMEN.me/Ed Mylett for 15% off your purchase. Thank you, Lumen, for sponsoring this episode. These statements and products have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or condition.
Number 9, huge habit. Always be reading. I am constantly reading. I have averaged reading probably 50 books a year for 30 years. For longer than that, for 35 years. I've read at least 50 books a year. And right now I can tell you I read a couple hundred books a year because of the show. I'm always prepping for podcasts. And so now I've learned to read quickly. I've learned to skim through a chapter, skim through it if it's not productive. But leaders are readers. How much reading are you doing? Well, Ed, I don't like to read. Well, then like it. And if you really can't get good at it, then you need to be listening to my podcast and you need to listen to books on Audible or some sort of audiobook. You got to be growing and learning. You know how powerful it is to be reading books? Someone that is very successful in a particular topic has taken their life and put it into a book, and you can read it in a week, what they've learned in their life. And the more you pour that into yourself, the more you grow and change you, the more the internal you grows and changes, the external results change. Always be reading. Do you know how many of my mega successful friends don't read a lot? I would have to spend a really long time to find one. I'm sure there's one. But I could tell you, almost all of my friends are just, what you reading right now? What are you reading? What did you just read? Let me tell you, I just saw this book. They're sending me books. I'm sending them books. Leaders are readers. And by the way, my worst subject in school was comprehension. I couldn't remember things. I didn't read quickly. Reading was a real struggle for me. It no longer is because I do it a lot. All right. Number 10, make your bed. Make your bed. Make your bed every day. And it's correlated to number 11, and then I'll talk about both. Make sure you have a clean bedroom and a clean office. Why does that matter, Ed? Because clutter creates confusion. And clean creates clarity. When your space is made, I'm on the College Football Hall of Fame, the National Football Foundation board, and Bill McCraven is on that board. And he has a very famous talk that just basically says, make your bed. You should go take a listen to it. And he's talking, one of the foundations of life is successful people make their bed. It's amazing to me how many people live a messy life. Their closet's messy. Their car's messy. Their bedroom is messy. Their office is messy. Their life's going to be messy. I can tell you that. There's a direct connection. I really believe this between people that have a clean closet, a clean car, a clean bedroom, a clean office, that live more productive, efficient, peaceful, giving, dream-like lives. People that live in mess usually create messes. They just do. And you say, well, I have a mess and I'm winning. You'd win more if it were clean and organized and tidy. It's a reflection of who you are. Your external environment is a reflection of what's really going on internally. And so when I meet someone, I get in their car and it's a mess, I know this person probably has a mess in their life of some type, or they're about to create one, because we move what we're familiar. We move towards what we're familiar with. Did you hear that earlier with Touch Your Dreams? If you're familiar with messes around you, you'll move towards them eventually. I don't believe that's a metaphor. I believe that that's true. 12th habit. Isn't this good? Have deadlines in your life. Start to set deadlines for when things are going to happen. If you don't put a deadline on it and a time frame on it, it's not going to happen, or it'll eventually happen, but it should have happened sooner so you'd be on to the next thing. Great leaders, great people, hyper-productive, happy people have deadlines. I mean, even as simple as if you're dating somebody, there should be a deadline of, hey, when you're committed, or when you're going to get married, or when it's going to be exclusive. In business, when's the goal? When's the number going to hit? When's the account going to come in? Savings, your physical changes. When are you going to hit that body fat percentage? Like deadlines. The more you have deadlines, you're moving towards something. You have something to look forward to. You have an accountability, right? I have so many friends in my life that don't have deadlines. Think about this. I have friends that don't have deadlines, that don't have clean bedrooms, that don't make their bed, that aren't reading, that don't touch their dreams, that don't hydrate, that don't take a daily walk, that don't have a to-do list every day. Compared to someone who does, who's going to win? Think about this person I'm describing. And by the way, all of this is easy. None of it's connected, but it's all connected. Number 13, say thank you more. I added this about a year ago. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Write more thank you notes to people. You know, I gave a speech this last weekend, and the dentist office that I go to, many of the people that are there went to that speech. And then I went back to the dentist. And so many of these ladies that work there wrote me personal thank you notes. And I cherish those notes. Anyway, makes me, I know what I did made an impact on them. And as much as what I did had an impact on them, their note of thanking me had an even bigger impact on me. Say thank you more. More often you say thank you. Like when you wake up, thank you, God, for another day. You know, someone made you breakfast. Thank you for breakfast. Someone got you breakfast. Someone brought you your coffee at Starbucks, whatever it is. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Write more thank you notes. Say thank you more often. Thank God more often. Thank people more often. When someone comes in your office and you have a great meeting, say thank you. Thank you. That was a great meeting. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. The more you begin to thank people, the more you're in a state of gratitude, the more you're looking for things to be thankful for. And just happy people say thank you. Good people, people with manners, kind people, giving people, say thank you. I actually can't stand it when I go to dinner with friends and they don't thank the server when they bring them their food. They don't thank the server after they order the food. I'm always cautious of that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Can I get a glass of water? Thank you. It's such a sign of a good person, a solid person. And these things shouldn't have to be said. Yet in a world today where manners and decorum and gratitude and grace and patience and kindness is out the window, people who say thank you stand out. And even if you didn't stand out, it's good for you to say thank you. All the great things in your life come from saying thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. You will find more things to be thankful for by simply saying it all the time. I'll bet that one of the top 10 things I say is thank you. And writing thank you notes to people has a deep impact on their lives. Trust me, I get them on a daily basis from people around the world, and I read them, and it fills my soul with desire to continue to go on. And it overrides the negatives in life. Number 14, ironically, say no more. You got to learn to say no more. You don't want to go somewhere? Say no. You don't want to do a meeting? Say no. You don't want to do something? Say no. You got to learn to say no more. I'm speaking to me probably more than anybody. I'm a people pleaser. I have a hard time saying no. And me not saying, how many of you have things going on in your life right now that are in your calendar that as they get closer, you're like, gosh, I hope it cancels. Man, why'd I say yes to that? I don't know if you're like me. I do it all the time. I should have just said no. There's a polite way to say no. There's a well-mannered way to say no. But I, in my life, would have been a much happier man the last 53 years that I learned in a polite, kind, firm way to say no. If people are asking you to do things you don't want to do or shouldn't do, say no. If you don't want to go somewhere or do something, say no. If you're in a conversation that doesn't serve you or someone's gossiping, say no. I don't want to talk about this. Okay? That type of conversation doesn't serve you. Say no. Okay? Number 15, totally unrelated, but totally related. Plan your sleep. Rest more. Structure your sleep. Learn about sleep. I can promise you this. The people who can get to sleep and sleep deeply. I do everything from stimulating the vagus nerve to go to sleep every single night with a little device that I use, to keeping the room cold, to everything structured in my room, to keeping it very dark in the room. I've learned all of the codes for me to help me get deep sleep and rest. You will live longer. You will wake up more cognitively strong, physically strong, higher energy. Everything in your life will benefit from getting deeper sleep, getting your HRV at an optimum level, your heart rate lower, all of these different things, not drinking caffeine, all the things you can do. You need a plan for your sleep. Ask yourself this. Do you have a plan for your workout? You probably do. Do you have a plan for work and the things you got to get done every day? You probably do. Do you have a plan for your sleep? Probably not. Yet you will spend 1/3 of your life doing that one thing. You will spend more of your life sleeping than any other activity of your life long term. And there's no plan for it. And in culture and society today, 99.9% of people don't. They go, well, I gotta sleep. Yeah, but are you getting deep sleep? Do you even know? Do you have anything you're doing to monitor your sleep? Do you have an Oura ring or something like that? Something that's telling you how good your sleep is? You have a 30-year life that you have no plan for. And by the way, it's the 1/3 of your life that impacts the other 2/3 all the time. And so I finally, if you follow my social media, even though I haven't posted in a long time, my sort of obsession was with my sleep. And so I've got a plan for sleep now. Do you have a plan for yours? 1/3 of your life impacts the other 2/3. Do you have a plan for it? Number 16, set your alarm 15 minutes early. This is something I just done in 2025 so far. I wake up 15 minutes earlier. I feel like I've stolen the day. 15 minutes. So because I plan my sleep, I go into bed 15 minutes earlier, but I get up 15 minutes earlier. And I feel like, oh my gosh, I'm ahead of the whole world when I get up. If you start getting up 15 minutes earlier, you will feel like you're stealing the day. Like you're the early bird gets the worm. Like I just created some more time in my life. I just created a scenario where I'm doing more. I'm doing something I didn't used to do. 15 minutes earlier when you get up, set your alarm 15 minutes earlier. It's just the best feeling in the world. And I don't think you'll miss those 15 minutes if you get deep sleep and if you go to bed 15 minutes earlier. Number 17, totally unrelated. Stop trying to multitask. There's no such thing. We've had enough studies on the brain to know you cannot multitask. You can't do two things at once. You shouldn't text and drive. That's dangerous. And you shouldn't be on the phone and doing emails. And you shouldn't be trying to make a phone call and write your speech or write your one thing at a time. Instead of multitasking, learn to task switch, which is to do one task fully present, switch from it and do another. And by the way, many things are really good if you'll get away from them for a while. So like when I write a book or a speech or plan a podcast, usually what I'll do is I'll start planning a podcast like today for a little while, and then I will task switch and go do one of my other business activities or work out, and then come back to the podcast for a while, task switch. Getting away from a task gives you a refreshing look at it, different set of eyes when you come back to it, more energy, more clarity, a different perspective. So stop trying to multitask all the time. You're incredibly unproductive when you multitask. Totally unproductive. Don't do it. Task switch and get away from things. Number 18, take the stairs. I've learned in my life, the more I can take the stairs and not the escalator or the elevator, it's good for your body. It's good for your mind. No one else is willing to do it. And you start building this thing where I do things other people are willing to do. These things seem so trivial and small. Take the stairs. more. And I guarantee you, you start doing that, you're like, yep, I'm special. I'm different. I do stuff other people aren't willing to do. And it's just little hacks. Man, my heart rate went up a little bit. This is good for my legs. Hey, and guess what? No one else does this stuff. And you start taking the stairs of life. You start changing who you are. When you start behaving in a way that most people don't, when everyone's going one direction and you go the other, there just becomes a part of you that knows you're going in the right direction. Take the stairs. Number 19. Practice mental rehearsal. Start visualizing more often. If you're not any good at it, start just trying to picture your future. Mental rehearsal over and over again of the talk you're going to give, the meeting you're going to go into, the goal, the dream you have. Start the habit of learning to be a person who does mental rehearsal. So before this podcast, I mentally rehearsed doing it. I just saw myself doing it. Before I give a speech, I see myself doing it. I mentally rehearse my goals. I mentally rehearse the victory. I mentally rehearse all of it. I'm a mental rehearsal addict almost, where I'm constantly prepping my mental rehearsal. And the more someone does that, the more they become familiar with something, the more their mind moves towards it. Number 20 of my totally disconnected habits that aren't connected but are: plan a non-negotiable vacation every year. It's changed my life. I did not do it for years. Every year, have a vacay you're going to take. If you can't afford it to go very far, make it a staycation and stay in your house. But plan your vacation. Why does that matter? It's a dream. It's something to look forward to. It's something you get excited about. If every year you just did something where you gave yourself the gift of a vacation somewhere, whether that's 2 days, a week, whatever it might be, every year of your life, you should be taking a vacation. And I know you go, well, yeah, that's just not in the cards for everybody. Believe me, I know. I've had 3 jobs at one time. But I'm telling you, even if it's a weekend, every year you should have a vacation so that when you look back on your life, you've taken a bunch of them. You've gone somewhere, seen something new, or maybe just that new place is actually your place that you never spend any time in because you work all the time. But every year, plan a non-negotiable vacation. I promise you'll thank me for it. Yeah, plan a break. It's important that you give yourself that gift because you're going to work so hard. And here's lastly, I'll give you a bonus habit. Pray. Pray more. Spend more time in prayer. More time in contemplation of where you come from and where you're going. Find your own answers to that stuff. Pray more. Your life will be better. I can promise you that. Pray more. All right, everybody. That was 20 totally disconnected, completely connected, though, in life, habits that I think can serve you, and a bonus one, which is prayer. Whatever that means for you, spend some time with God. Your life will be better every single time you do it. That's what I'm here to do every week with you, is try to give you something. I gave you 20 things today that I think if you did at least some of them and you adopted those habits, your life will just end up being better. All right. God bless you, everybody. Max out.